There aren't any prominent Roman Catholics that can actually debate. They all suck. They're terrible. I like Tim Gordon, but Tim completely failed in the debate. And also, I think the internet is giving a lot of people the impression that they know things when they actually don't. Like, everybody thinks they're an expert on everything now because they have the internet, they have AI or whatever, and you cannot replace actually reading and understanding books with AI, ChatGPT, YouTube videos. None of that can ever replace actually reading books. So because people in mass do not read and they watch screens all day, I think this is a huge, huge part of it. Not that just reading alone would solve things, but we have masses of people that are living incarnations of Dunning-Kruger. I know that's overused, but I think it's legit here. And they are internet pseudo-experts, and they don't know anything. I mean, they think they do. But the internet is this democratizing, egalitarian force that makes everyone think that they know things, and they don't really. And so, for example, in regard to a lot of the face lords, okay, we have Fuentes, we have Candace, perhaps others that I am not even thinking of. These are traditional Catholic face lords, and I'm going to just say traditional Catholic because that makes it easy. We have our friend Tim Gordon and others, aspiring face lords. Why can we not talk about the Vatican being Judaized? So these people will cover for that and not talk about that. You're supposed to talk about Judaism all day long. But what about the Vatican? What about the papacy discussing and citing the Talmud and the Talmudic principle of tikkun olam?
Greetings from Rome. I'm very happy to join you in Chicago as the Les Turner ALS Foundation gathers us for the annual ALS Walk for Life. Ours is a gathering of many people. Let me say first of all that I am filled with admiration and gratefulness to the researchers and scientists gathered here. Our Jewish brothers and sisters tell us that one of the great projects given the human family by God is to complete and perfect the very good creation given us, tikkun olam.
Of course, this is a Talmudic principle. It's not actually really a biblical theological principle. And also, Judaism does not teach that Christians and Jews are brothers and sisters. It teaches that they are the enemies. And Christianity historically has taught that Judaism is not the brothers and sisters of Christ or Christians because they hate Christ and so forth. So why would we think that, or why would we ignore this element if we wanted to go on crusades to expose Zionism, as many of these so-called right-wingers do on a daily basis? They build their entire audience just on this topic almost entirely. And by the way, have these people actually read any of the texts that we're talking about? Like the text that we talked about tonight with Richard Grove. Have any of these people actually read these texts? I don't think Fuentes or Candace have actually read any of these texts. Maybe they have, and I could be shown that I'm wrong. Although when I offered to have a debate on these topics, nobody was interested. They turned it down. So now that's ankle biting. Even though I think I'm calling out and asking a fair question. If the 2003 Catholic document Reflections on Covenant and Mission about the Jews says not to convert Jews, why would we not call that out? Why would we not consider that if the popes, back to John Paul II, Benedict XVI, Pope Francis, all go and pray in synagogues? Something explicitly forbidden in the first 1,000 years of Christian canon law. Something forbidden even as late as 1928 in papal encyclicals like Mortalium Animos. Why would we not call that out? Where is the disconnect with these people? I don't understand. I mean, I understand the face lords themselves not covering it because it's a tough thing. And why cover that when we can bitch about Trump flip-flopping? Okay, well, this man influences potentially 1 billion people spiritually. Trump, okay, he influences a lot of people in the world, maybe the entire world, but not really spiritually. So what's more dangerous? What's more devastating? What's more of a potential problem? A Judaized papacy that teaches a form of Judaism or Judaizing, or silly political flip-flopping that nobody will remember in a month? But what about the Vatican II documents that teach basically the same thing about Muslims and Jews? So then what we get is face lords telling us, no, actually Muslims are based. Muslims are right-wing buddies. Total idiocy and nonsense. Utterly stupid positions. I can't actually believe. I can, though, because actually I thought this at one time too. I mean, not that Islam was based, just that, oh, they're like a conservative religious force. But I didn't know anything about Islam. I'd never read or studied or looked at even just debates between Christians and Muslims. And now we have multiple senators, entire cities, as you see here, in America. And some of these right-wing goobers have actually cheered this on. Oh, I'm not worried about the Muslims. I'm only worried about Zionism. I'm only worried about AIPAC. I'm only worried about Judaism. Okay, well, I don't walk down the street and see like Jews everywhere, but I do see Muslims everywhere. And yes, Israel has no problem with Islam being the broom of Judaism, as some of the rabbis say. Here's an entire city, Warren, Michigan, with the entire downtown blocked off with a giant horde of Muslims. And only complete goobers would think that this doesn't pose an issue. Are they not even aware of their own Crusader history? Why would the Crusaders go to war against the Muslims, the Ottomans, etc., when if they're actually your base buddies, you idiots? This is why those people won't actually debate me. They will not win a debate with me. They can't actually deal with the types of documents, discussions, and challenges that I would bring up. And that's why it's much easier to just dismiss me and then lie about me. Oh, he doesn't ever talk about Zionists because he just wants to attack Catholics. How many of my debates in the last 7, 8 years were with Muslims? Most of them. Most of the big public debates were with Muslims, not with Roman Catholics. Only a handful of prominent Roman Catholics, because there aren't any prominent Roman Catholics that can actually debate. They all suck. They're terrible. I like Tim Gordon, but Tim completely failed in the debate. Eric Ibarra, I don't even know. He's in a carb coma. Wake him up. Can he even debate? Who knows? He's asleep.
Hey, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I wanted to speak maybe on the question you were asking on what is your platform not doing that the others are doing that gets them so much traction.
Is it just I mean, I know I don't cover politics really, because politics is like low tier for tards, and then everybody else is a dumb tard and thinks that they're gonna like actually be voting and changing things. So maybe is that what it is? I'm just not doing politics.
Well, I think it's even more of a methodological level. I don't even know if I did that right. But either way, I've been listening to you for a long time, and I've been like listening to all your videos, and they're all long form, right? And you've mentioned before how short form shorts are actually a cancer on our brains, and like, you know, metaphorically, not actually, but they're just causing our brains to rot. And I think all these Fuentes and all these Candace people are just watching clips and expecting that to be their force when they go into political.
Doesn't Candace do like an hour show though? So
no, they do long form shows. But I think, like, so I've been watching Fuentes for the past 2 weeks since the Kirk event. Dude, he's only getting like 20,000 listeners a night. And so if you think about like all the people that are pushing this stuff, it's all short form shorts. Like I think and like that's why I'm glad that you're like promoting clips now. I think the clips are going to be helpful in trying to get more people listening to your content, because people really just don't care. It takes it takes effort to listen to longer form videos and to actually remember all the things you're saying. I mean, because all the things you're saying are correct and they're actually weighty, But if you just listen to a clip of Fuentes going off on Jews, I think a lot more people, for some reason, I don't agree with it, for some reason are going to be more attracted to those kind of clips instead of the hard work of listening to a hour-long, 2-hour-long lecture and actually bringing that to conversations when they talk with people. They'd rather just bring the clip in.
Yeah.
And I've done it myself. Like, I've listened to a clip before about some, like, hot news tape or whatever, and I brought it to a conversation, and somebody roasted the crap out of me because I had zero context of what happened before or after. And so I was like, dang, that's why short form is horrible, because the context I was trying to bring in was, like, not even correct. But I thought it was, you know? And so all these goobers who are just like short form shorts and TikToks, I'm just watching that all day instead of going to the long form lectures.
Yeah.
They're just ingesting a bunch of sound bites that if you go into an actual conversation with somebody.
No, I think you're right about that because that's why when you talk to these people, you don't actually get any sensible, coherent responses. You just get gibbering and chirping, and they just repeat what they heard somebody else say.
The problem with right-wingers being so dumb, I've noticed that too. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that most people nowadays who are right-wing weren't right-wing through some sort of study or through some sort of debate instruction, like people who became right-wing through, say, Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson. Most people who get red-pilled, it comes from social media and, like, short clips and memes that they see in inaccurate information. You're talking about Talmud, that's a perfect example because you'll see a million, like, I don't even remember. It was like a year or two ago when, like, Twitter was only, like, Talmud memes that were just made up of low-quality quotes or fake quotes. And, I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff in it, really, but people get exposed to low amounts of low-quality information, and that breeds a giant underclass of retarded right-wingers and a sort of elite of ones who have any idea what they're talking about.
So basically people are being propagandized through shorts and dumb memes, and this is creating a giant underclass of, quote, right-wing conservative retards.
Yeah. And it's the same way through the 4chan, because if you ever, and don't ever go there, but, like, it's just reposted low-quality infographics that then get reposted on the Twitter. So it's the same sort of slop cycle that just lobotomizes people genuinely. And none of them ever go take time to read things or actually understand the issues. Because most of them are only tangentially interested in it and are only interested in being shocked by flashy infographics.
That makes sense. You guys are... We have the highest IQ audience, and that's why I like to get you guys' takes, because you guys bring in actual analysis. So I think, like, this audience is great. We have a high IQ audience, and we try to look at it. We oftentimes also are very good, I think, in my audience, avoiding the falling into dialectics, right?
Well, I built it in the algorithm.
Thank you.
When I set up your page. Yeah,
appreciate that.
By the way, I do want to make that point, just to follow up on what our last guy said, that the left's evil, right?
Yeah.
We get that. And talking about manufacturing consent, the left's not the only one that's susceptible. The right is too. Like,
yeah,
there are retards on the right.
Right.
And the greatest example of low IQ manufacturing consent of the right is Zionism. Like, so they totally fall. No, let me give you a better example, too.
Well, the evangelical dispensational Israel worship is the stupidest stuff, for sure.
Yeah, and the boomer mentality of the right. Now, I'm not saying they're morally equivalent. Like, I obviously realize the left's totally evil. But with the right, the boomer mentality mindset of everything can just be reduced to communism
yeah,
and Islamic terrorism. That's as far as it goes. Or
what's the favorite boomer phrase is Islamofascism.
Yeah. Or that, like, everything's just as high as it goes and as complicated as it goes, just Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
There's Republican, Democrat. There's Islamic terrorism and communism versus patriotism. That's all, like...
Yeah.
So...
But that's the boomers, right? So boomers are stuck in that. And then we've got the Gen X and the Millennial and the Gen Z. and they're kind of not in that dialectic anymore. But there still seems to be this problem where we can't. There is something hindering the next phase or level of awakening. And now everybody is figuring out the stuff that we figured out and talked about 15 years ago. So I'm guessing the next phase will be maybe people start to think, wait a minute, I foresee a future where we are interacting with and dealing with neo-pagans, Muslims, and Orthodoxy.
Oh, good call. By the way, it was good to see that why am I blanking on his name? Richard Grove.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's a guy that's able to see the kind of nuances of, like, it does go a little bit farther than...
Well, no, Richard's a really well-read guy. Like, he's more well-read in a lot of the history topics that we talked about today than I am. So he's super well-read.
Good. Yeah, it was good to see that he has this kind of nuances, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot more complicated. And even just bringing up the stuff with the World War II and stuff like that, of like who funded who and stuff like that. I was impressed to see him like make those comments and know. But like, if you have a boomer mentality, if you have an IQ of 70, it's like you just can't grasp it. Like, what are you talking about? It's not how the television tells me.
Yeah, I think that definitely the younger you get, the quicker it is for people to figure things out because of the speed of information. But at the same time, that speed of information is being compacted into these, shorts, and it's just making everything just ridiculous. What's up, man?